Welcome back. Just before 8 o'clock, our real estate experts, Andrew Rink, Justus Smith, are here for Getting Real Estate. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to continue our conversation about the essential elements of a sale. Exposure, staging, pricing, those are the three. Have a look at the graphic. We've been talking about this the last few weeks. Today, we're going to focus on price. Now, what are some factors that do not affect price? And Justus and Andrew provided me with them, and it's number one, how much you paid for the house when you first bought it.
Yeah. So that
one surprises me, actually.
Well, I mean, the market may have gone up. Hopefully, it has appreciated since you bought it, but things do not go up indefinitely. There are ups and downs in the market all the time. We've seen that just going back the last few years in Regina. 2008 was a high season. 2009, we kind of had a slump, then picked back up, and so we're up higher now. So, but it depends on when you bought the house and what the market conditions were then and what they are now. So
here's another one too. What your neighbors think it's worth.
Yeah, and this is this is something we actually hear all the time. There's a lot of misinformation about what what the values are, and so if your neighbors think it's such a great value, over and above what's probably reasonable, maybe suggest that they buy the house. If they're going to pay you top dollar.
Yeah.
But
it's not worth that.
Yeah,
when you buy it.
Exactly. That's the truth of it. But because there's rumors that go along, and they see what maybe other people have been asking, but not what it's sold for. So just because someone thinks it's worth something, probably doesn't really affect the price.
How much you need or how much you want for the home.
And that's a tricky one because how much you need, how much you want, they're not necessarily the same number, but at the end of the day, it's probably not going to affect what a buyer's willing to pay. It might affect what you're willing to sell for. So what you need or what you want, those are kind of secondary considerations to a buyer at least.
All right, let's talk about factors that do affect price. What comparable properties have sold for? That's a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. We call this the gold standard of determining market value for prices on homes, because it shows exactly what previous buyers have paid for those properties. So that is by far the biggest one that we use for determining market value.
Number two, what other comparable homes have an asking price of?
Yeah, so going back to the ones that have already sold, I mean, those are off the market now, right? So those are in the past. So the buyers that are currently looking only have the opportunity to look at what's still available and what that asking price is. So it sort of limits their decisions. And
the economic factors and local market conditions would be number three.
Yeah, and I mean, that's for any market. It comes down to supply and demand at the end of the day for that one. Recently we had the mortgage rule changes, July 9th. I believe the interest rate or amortization period is being changed, so that'll affect supply and demand. Interest rates is a big one. Interest rates go up, interest rates go down. We've seen that happen a few times over the last few years. So in local market activity, so in Regina specifically, job growth, job demand, government policies, things like that. So lots micro, macro type question there, but basically, like I said, comes down to supply and demand at the end of the day.
All right, well, that wraps up the essential factors of a sale. Andrew Rink and Justus Smith will be back next week for Getting Real with Real Estate. And I love the Saskatchewan Rough Rider tie you got on there, Justus, this morning.
It's a battle between the head and the heart and who's going to win, but the heart's going to go, and let's go Riders.
All right.